what's up, family? I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are Two Crazy Ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics, and every Monday, we go live on Keto on the Couch, where we just kind of talk about what's going on in our lives for the week.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way, every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
So we are getting ready to launch our 2022 Beef, Butter, Bacon, and Egg Challenge.
Triple B&E 2022.
You're excited about this
I am super excited because you know what? When we did this last time, it was just me and you, friends.
Right.
And now it's a whole community of people that are being willing to take on this challenge.
I'm super excited about this challenge. So last year when we did it, we were trying to prove Dr. Berry wrong. Dr. Berry said we should learn our lesson.
Why do you keep saying this? It makes me look terrible.
Well, we were both trying to prove him wrong, but I wanted the $1,000. You just wanted to show him that you can eat, right?
I think I'm always trying to justify myself and my food consumption, right? Like I'm just that girl, okay? I can smash some hamburger, I can smash some bacon and eggs and butter.
Well, we did that last year. We weren't really trying to lose weight. We just wanted to see if it worked. This year we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to try to slim down. We're going to try to really stick to the rules. And we're also in the middle of launching our podcast. And we felt, what better way to launch our podcast than with Triple B&E? So our podcast is launching hopefully today, the day that this video comes out. And it's on all of the different podcast platforms. Which ones? I don't know because I know zero about podcasting.
We're baby podcasters.
We paid a guy to teach us how to do this because we wanted to do it right, but I don't know what to do. And so all of that is going to be found under the name
Two Crazy Ketos.
Two Crazy Ketos. Felt it was the easiest way. So if you want to find our podcast, go to whatever your favorite podcasting platform is and just search for Two Crazy Ketos. And one of the launching podcasts is an interview with Dr. Berry.
How cool is that?
Right?
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
So we are interviewing him today for the podcast, and we're going to ask him all kinds of cool questions, specifically stuff on beef, butter, bacon, and egg. Like, why can Rachel only have 1 cup of coffee?
Seems unfair.
Why? Well, you did fine last year. You want more than 1 cup of coffee?
What I'm doing is echoing what I think is the sentiment of a lot of people who may be getting started on Triple B&E. This is their first time. And there is a lot of, this is not fair. I don't want to give up my coffee, but I love how Dr. Berry breaks down things, and I know that he will have a great answer to this question.
Yeah, so we are about to get on with him, and we felt the best thing to do, because we didn't want to just put it on podcasts and have you guys not get to see the interview. So we're going to try this out. I don't know if we're going to do this with all of our podcast interviews, but we're going to try this out where we're going to record the podcast with him. I am recording video. Hopefully it works out. We're going to play that for you guys, and then we will come back and wrap it up. Like when we're done with him, we'll wrap it up for you guys. So I'm super excited about today's podcast episode because we have our good friend, Dr. Ken Berry here, and we're going to be talking all about beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. But before we get into that, I do want to just invite you, if you are brand new to our podcast, head down below, hit that subscribe button. We upload new podcasts every Tuesday and Friday.
Dr. Berry has blessed our life so much and helped us not just get healthy in our bodies, but healthy in our mind, and also have an opportunity to encourage others through nutrition.
Right.
Who knew it could be so easy to get well? And thanks to Dr. Berry, he's really taken a lot of the mystery out of this process. So Dr. Berry, thank you so much for being with us today.
It's always a pleasure to hang out with you too.
Well, I feel like it's the reverse. We really appreciate your friendship. You've helped us so much over the last few years, and the relationship that we've been able to build with you has been amazing. And I think we want to jump right into it. So last year, right about this time last year, we were in Omaha and we started discussing the fact that people were starting to gravitate towards eating very, very high protein and very little fat. And I mentioned to you that it was concerning me that people were eating so much protein and not giving themselves any fuel with fat, and that it felt like we were getting back into this demonization of fat again. And you brought up a video that you had made a couple years prior that didn't really have much traction about eating beef, butter, bacon, egg, along with $1,000 challenge. So can you tell us a little, like, where did that even come from?
Yeah, so humans are by design symbolic animals. We're constantly looking for patterns, for rhymes, for things that are easy to remember. It's one of the reasons we took over the planet, is because our brains think that way. We're really good at pattern recognition. And so for many people, fat rhymes with fat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you say, hey, eat a diet full of fat, you're like, no, that will make me fat. They rhyme. So therefore, I know that is not a good idea. And so the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs idea, I was trying to think of something that was memorable. I was trying to think of something that people could hang on to, that also could pretty easily have a 1-to-1 fat to protein ratio.
Right.
And so that's where the idea came from. I actually made that video in the basement of our old farmhouse that we lost to a fire. I'd taken one of the girls' bedrooms and turned it into my studio. So every time I watch that video, I'm like, oh, man, I miss that place. But so that's why I came up with the idea. Beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Catchy, quick, memorable, not overcomplicated, which some people love, but most people don't. And easy to do. Simple ingredients that every grocery store on the planet has, unless you shop at 7-Eleven for your groceries, which I don't recommend. And easy to cook, easy to fix. You don't have to have a recipe book written by Julia Child to make beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. And so it kind of fit all the criteria I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many of us have an eating disorder, whether diagnosed or not. It's just as bad. Keep that in mind, right? And so many of us are not in touch with our true hunger signals or our true satiety signals, both of which are controlled by a long list of complicated hormones. And you don't have to memorize those hormones. You don't have to get a degree in biochemistry to do beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, because if you're not truly hungry, beef, butter, bacon, eggs, they don't really sound that great. You're like, no, I don't want that.
Right.
I want that honey bun, or I want that Pepsi. And that's one of the reasons I made that, is so that you recognize immediately, oh, dude, you're not truly hungry if you don't want to eat this nutrient-dense, ancestrally appropriate food. If you're wanting to snack on Doritos, you're not really hungry. So that helps you learn or relearn what true hunger is. So if I lock Joe in my barn for 3 days with no food, just water, when I let Joe out, he would be truly hungry. And if I handed him a plate of beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, he would smash that.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But if Joe was sitting on the couch watching the football game, he just ate 30 minutes ago, and I'm like, hey, you want some beef, butter, bacon, and eggs? He'd be like, nah, you got Doritos, Cheetos, something. I don't really want that.
Right.
Joe's not really hungry. And on the other side of this equation, Joe could eat 12 bags of Doritos. Couldn't you, Joe?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I definitely could. Never get hungry, never get full. Just keep eating. Wash it down with some Pepsi, maybe Diet Pepsi. That makes it better. And eat some more Doritos. I could eat it all day long. But when I'm eating just nutrient-dense, ancestrally appropriate beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, when I'm truly full, that's it. I'm done. I don't want another bite. And for many people, it's usually women, for some reason, who are not used to being truly satiated. They'll experience this for a few days as mild nausea. Like, oh, when I eat beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, I get a little nauseated. And it's like, I know it feels that way, but that's really your hunger hormones kicking in, telling you to stop it, dummy. That's what that is. And after a week or two, if they continue, they're like, oh, yeah, the nausea is gone. Now I just get truly, satisfyingly full, and I'm done. And then I'm not hungry again for a long time. And when you truly fully trigger your satiety hormones, that's one of the great benefits of this is there's no need for snacks, no desire for snacks, because you stay truly satiated for a long time. And even if you get bored or stressed or you didn't sleep well last night, all these things increase your snackiness.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing the 90-day beef, butter, bacon, and egg challenge, you're like, I don't want any of that. Then therefore, you're not truly hungry.
I love that you brought up our ancestors because we live in a social media age where photos of colorful, constantly varied plates of food are really celebrated. But was that something that our ancestors prioritized?
No, it's not. And so we have ample evidence, both biblically and archaeologically, that any time there was a big celebration, a wedding, birth of a child, preferably a firstborn son, or, if a firstborn son comes home after a long absence, we sacrificed the fattiest ruminant animal in the pasture. And we cooked that, and we all ate it until we couldn't eat another bite. And indeed, in other cultures outside of, the Jewish history and the Christian history, there's multiple examples of this. That's how you celebrate. Back in the days when food was truly scarce, when people knew what real food truly was, that's what you celebrated with. And so in the middle of this table would be this huge fatty lamb, fatty goat, fatty cow, fatty pig. And that's what you would celebrate with. And that's what also you would show off your intelligence and your wealth with to neighbors or visitors. Just look at this huge fatty lamb. I am your friend. Do not go to war with me. Eat this fatty meat and let's be friends.
So it's interesting, you talk about like eating the meat, and I want to really get into the ingredients of beef, butter, bacon, egg, because when we talked about it last year, initially you had only said to us beef. So we, of course, took that literally like, oh, we're only allowed to have beef. And so we did that for 30 days, and you were like, no, guys, you can have any ruminant animal. So my question is, because a lot of people keep asking us like, okay, well, basically this is carnivore, so why can't we have other meats? What is it that is so special about ruminant animals that we've got ruminant animals on here, but not poultry?
Yeah. So pork and chicken, they are monogastric animals. So their GI system is designed more like ours than it is like ruminant animals. They have a single chamber stomach. They do not regurgitate and chew their cud. So in cows, sheep, goats, camels, reindeer, water buffalo, bison buffalo, all the ruminants, they ruminate, right? And we actually use that word to mean a mental thing for humans now. If you're chewing on something for too long, you're ruminating. Well, they eat it, begin the primary digestion process, then they bring it back up and they ruminate, chew it again, then swallow it. It goes to another chamber of their stomach. And they are basically microorganism factories, and they're able to turn cellulose-rich grass into beautiful, perfectly healthy, lean meat and fat. And the beauty of a ruminant animal, unlike the monogastrics, is if you feed them an improper diet, they can still turn that into healthy protein and fat, healthy meat, healthy fatty meat. So if you take a cow who's meant to eat only grass or sheep or goat or any of the others, and you feed them soybean and corn and grains, they can still make that healthy meat through the multi-chamber stomach system and all the different bacteria in their gut. Whereas a pig or a chicken, it just goes straight through, and many of the things that we would not consider safe or optimal for human consumption wind up in the meat and in the fat. And that just doesn't happen nearly as much with ruminant animals.
Now, when we talk about beef, the next part we have is butter, which is obviously the fat portion. That also would include any of the fat, for example, like tallow or something like that, correct?
Sure. Yeah. Beef tallow, bacon grease, butter or clarified butter, ghee. In some countries, that's much preferred, which is fine. Duck fat, chicken fat. I don't care. Any fat. Yeah. But try to focus mainly on the butter because it does come from a ruminant animal.
Okay. So the next thing, when we talked about, you talked a little bit about the, chickens, for example, being monogastric. I remember last year, the other thing you said was we can binge eat stuff with chicken.
Yeah. Many people, if you put a plate of well-seasoned chicken wings in front of them, especially the drummy part,
Mm-hmm.
they can overeat and wind up ingesting too much nutrition, which has to be metabolized. We don't just have a escape valve. Be nice if we did. It's like, oh, I just ate some crap. I better push the button and just eject that. We don't have that. It has to go through the digestive process. And if you overate nutrition, you're probably going to store some of that as fat. You're able to overcome your satiety hormones with certain foods. And for some of us, chicken wings is one of those things.
Now, why have carbs contributed to our confusion regarding hunger signals?
Carbohydrates don't trigger the satiety hormones like beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. And also, the carbohydrates cause you to have a large spike in insulin, in blood sugar, and then in insulin. Insulin's a growth hormone. Now, getting fatter is a form of growth.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you have lots of stored fat, when your insulin level is high, you basically turn off your ability to metabolize that fat for fuel. Then, and for some people, carbohydrates, at least some of them, can be quite inflammatory. And so you've got kind of this three-pronged attack against your metabolism. They don't trigger satiety, they spike your insulin, and they're inflammatory. And those are indeed three of the biggest drivers of the chronic disease epidemics that we're suffering from in modern society.
Now, how has the standard American diet and big pharma contributed to our suspicion of utilizing something as simple as nutrition to dramatically improve our health? Don't I need a giant days of the week pill box in order to be healthy?
So many of us have bought into the myth of modernity. We believe that everything modern, everything new is by definition better. And when it comes to iPhones, that's true. When it comes to laptops, that's true. When it comes to automobiles, that's often true. But when it comes to feeding this ancient Homo sapien DNA, this is not a new machine. We do not need a dietary upgrade. We need to stick to the nutrition that brung us.
Mm-hmm.
And the nutrition that brought us into this, our current position as the apex species on this planet, was a diet filled with healthy animal fat and animal protein. It's so common, just the mindset of the average person. I'm sick. I either need a prescription, I need an over-the-counter or something, I need a supplement, I need to buy this guy's program, I need to join this gym, I need to do a positive thing. When in reality, you need to be subtracting things from the equation, subtracting the high carbohydrate things, subtracting the inflammatory things, and subtracting the things that don't trigger your satiety hormones that could lead to hyperphagia, overeating. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Dr. Berry, because our personal keto journey started with you suggesting hot dogs and mustard, and that fit in our family budget. And next, you spring Triple B&E on us, which is also simple and economical. That is a great money saver for families all over the world, but it is a terrible money maker for you. So, Dr. Berry, why won't you change your business model?
Well, I have changed it drastically. if you look at me back in 2003, I was the average prescription writing doctor, and I had to see as many people each day as I could. And in order to get someone out of the exam room quickly, the secret is to write a prescription and say, okay, I've got your solution right here. There you go. See you later. Because I got 7 people waiting. Got to go. But you see how that basically extinguishes any further conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If they have questions, they're like, God, people are waiting and he's busy and I feel like I'm imposing. Okay, fine. I'll just ask him next time. The ultimate conversation stopper, here's a prescription, right? And now my business model is, let me give you as much information as I can give you, as easily understandable as possible, as easy to implement as possible. Oh, and let me give it to you for free. And then if other things, other links, my books, whatever, if you make a conscious choice, hey, I'd like to buy that, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
If when you go to work in the morning, you'd like to put one of my YouTube channel playlists on and let your cat and dog watch it all day, thank you. But that you chose to do that. That wasn't built into my profit model. You said, I'm going to do that for him. I'm going to do it for myself. He offers this. It's not mandatory. I don't have to take that.
Right.
Whereas patients in my office back in 2003, they pretty much had to take it or get the hell out.
And it's funny because you talk about like the whole aspect of money. I was actually in the car today and I was stopped and waiting for my son to finish up some work. And this thing shows up on my phone for a very well-known prepackaged diet program that's been around since the 80s. And they're like shelf-stable products from a company called Nutrisystem. Nutrisystem.
Nutrisystem.
And they're like, we have rolled back our product prices to 2019. And the first thing that's going through my head is that's because it's probably been on your shelf since 2019.
Easily.
And I decided to sacrifice myself and actually put in my email address so I can find out what is this program going to cost me and what do I get? And it was, I'm going to get 6 meals a day of high protein, low fat, low glycemic food that is high in fiber. I have to go to the grocery store and purchase other foods. And this was going to cost me $17 a day to eat this food that when I'm looking at, and by the way, the picture that they're showing me was a cinnamon bun. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to lose weight on that. But I decided to figure it out. If I were to eat a pound of 80-20 ground beef, top quality, I mean, go to the store and buy some grass-fed, grass-finished in your grocery store. So maybe not the top quality, but a medium quality. And a dozen pasture-raised eggs, that would be just over 2,000 calories with 160 grams of protein and 160 grams of fat. And I would save $7. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that the food that they're giving me in their prepackaged garbage isn't close to the nutrient density of a pound of ground beef and a dozen eggs.
Right. And it's never going to trigger your satiety hormones. That's why they give you 6 meals a day. Right? So the human body is not an idiot. People think, oh, if I drink a big glass of water before I eat, then I won't have as much room left in my stomach and I won't be able to eat as much. You're assuming your body is a moron. It can't tell the difference between water and actual nutrient-dense food. Same goes for cellulose, fiber, right? Yeah, if you eat this fiber-rich meal, you might feel full initially, but what about 30 minutes later? Thank God they included a snack, right? Because you're going to be hungry as soon as your body goes, what's this rubbish? This is not food. Get that to the large intestine as quickly as possible so we can poop that out because it's trash.
Right.
I think the other
fault, like Porky says, I'm trash.
I think the other false advertisement on that, the advertising was the woman was smiling. I mean, like she was.
I'm like, nobody's smiling when they open up that pouch of like shelf stable, C rations.
I have never smiled. It's always been just a sigh of agony that this is about to take place.
So since we're talking about being full, so when we talked about beef, butter, bacon, and egg last year, one of the things you said, I was like, how much do we eat? Like, I have to get out my food scale, right? I gotta figure out my macros. And you said, no, you guys are going to eat as much as you want, as many times as a day that you want, so long as every time you eat till you're full. And you said you're not going to be able to overeat. And I remember Rachel looking at you going, challenge accepted. She was like, we went home and she was like, I am going to prove him wrong. I want the $1,000, which she did not get. But why is it that this food fills us up so much? Because I know that people right now are going to be listening or watching and they're going to be like, I have to weigh. They're too worried and they really feel like they have to weigh out their food because they're afraid they're going to overeat, eating this fatty food.
And that's one of the reasons I came up with this challenge. I want you to be a little afraid because there are millions of people out there with undiagnosed eating disorders, with inappropriate eating habits and behaviors. And they play all these reindeer games trying to weigh this, palm size portion, this, let me count. No. What other mammal on the planet weighs or measures its food?
None. Our dog does not care.
Yet, if they're in their natural environment and don't have access to a human garbage dump or the dumpster behind the human restaurant, they are never obese. They never overeat. They eat until they're comfortably stuffed. Then they go take a nap or they go play or they go reproduce. And that's what humans can do as well. But for many people, it is terrifying to not have an upper limit of intake. What do you mean I can eat as much as I want? You don't know me. That's what Rachel's eyes said when I told her that. She's like, you don't know me. I'm like, yeah, I know your hormones. And I know what they're going to do when you eat nutrient-dense, low carbohydrate, ancestrally appropriate food. Now, it may not happen the very first meal. You may indeed overeat it for the first meal or two. Maybe. I don't care. That's fine. Because over the course of that 30 or 60 or hopefully 90 days that you do beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, you're going to rediscover your hormones talking to you. And when they say you're full, if you keep eating, you're going to start to get nauseated. And if you keep eating, you'll throw up. So a lot of people hear that and they're like, it's an echo of an eating disorder. You're advocating bulimia, Dr. Berry. No, I'm not. This is the way humans have eaten for over 2.5 million years. This is the ancestrally appropriate way to eat. If you ever tell a human being to limit their portions, you need to check your premises because you're missing something. You're either ignorant or you're trying to sell something. And I've yet to find an exception to what I just said. I'd be happy to be proven wrong, but if they're telling you to count calories and keep your calories under this, or count points and don't go over this many points, or portion control, palm size, size of your finger, size of your left earlobe, any of that crap, they're either ignorant of human physiology or they're trying to sell you a product.
So we're presenting beef, butter, bacon, and egg to our community this year in 3 different tiers, depending on where somebody falls. And I think this is great for somebody who does want to really get the full benefits and do the 90 days. And so what we're saying is we've got the first one, the way you presented it to us, with just eat beef, butter, bacon, egg as many times as you want, as much as you want, but every time you eat, you have to eat till you're full. So, it's like you can't go by and have one egg and be like, okay, that's fine. Because then, we can end up eating like 20 times a day. But if you put an egg in your mouth, eat until you're full. But you can do it all day long, sun up till sundown. That's how we did it last year. And we had great results. We were also trying to prove you wrong. We were not trying to lose weight. We were trying to see if we would get fat. The second way, which I think is a great second month for somebody or somebody who's already done this, is the same thing, but narrow it down to a 6 to 8 hour eating window.
Yes.
And then the third way would be that 6 to 8 hour, probably 8 hour, but limit yourself to only 2 meals. So you're going to maybe eat in the morning and then eat again, eat at maybe 10 o'clock and then eat again at like 4 o'clock, and then you're done. So you're only having those 2 insulin reactions. What kind of results could somebody see depending on any one of them? What are some of the things that people could be looking for depending on, even no matter what track they took?
So the immediate benefits are going to be an immediate improvement in your blood sugar. And if you're a type 1 or type 2 diabetic currently injecting insulin, you need to watch your blood sugar very carefully, because quickly you're going to be injecting too much insulin because you're not eating carbohydrates, and your blood sugar will go too low. And so if you are currently injecting insulin, you can still do this challenge, but you need a continuous glucose monitor, or you need to check your finger stick multiple times a day and be prepared to lower your insulin injection very quickly. Most type 2 diabetics are off the insulin in a week or two completely.
Wow.
A lot of people notice that they have a diuresis over the first week. As the insulin comes back down to normal, you stop holding all of the unhealthy edema, which is fluid in your ankles and legs, maybe other places. And so you'll start to urinate that away. And many people will lose 5, 10, 15 pounds in the first week or two. And you didn't lose that much fat. And people are like, damn it, I was hoping that was fat. But what they don't understand is holding 5 or 10 or 15 pounds of fluid inappropriately is very, very unhealthy. Places a strain on your heart and your liver and your kidneys that they don't need. And so losing that 5, 10, 15 pounds of water weight, that's a great victory. Mm-hmm. Now your heart is only pumping blood, not all the blood that's diluted with all this unhealthy edema that it keeps having to circulate. Your tissues in your lower extremities, your legs are not being stretched and increasing your risk of infection, ulcer, losing a toe. All these things, the risk of all these things decrease when you get rid of the unhealthy fluid that you're holding. People, in some cases, notice mental clarity improves in just a few days. Many other benefits.
Now, for some people who are just getting started, what is your biggest tip for them if they've never, participated in any kind of elimination, protocol like this is calling for? What's your biggest tip for getting started?
Probably for most people, the biggest tip is to ignore all the voices in your head, your mom's voice, your grandmother's voice, Richard Simmons's voice, right? And also all of the current voices that you hear from social media and television and magazines. Ignore it all. It's not going to kill you to do this for 90 days. It's not going to cause any permanent damage to just do this for 3 months. Close the blinds, close the shutters. Just say, fine, I'm going to do this for 90 days. If Barry's an idiot, I'll know in 90 days, right? And then just eat when you're hungry. Eat until you're full, then stop eating, and then don't eat again until you're truly hungry again. And I love how you're breaking this up, Joe, because during that first month, they may really be completely out of touch with what their hunger hormones and satiety hormones are truly telling them. They can't hear that message at all. Mm-hmm. It's like the television's on wide open and their spouse is trying to tell them something important and they're nodding, but they didn't hear a word she said.
I remember when we first got started, when you said we can eat as much as we wanted as many times a day, Rachel was like, finally, I'm getting permission to eat breakfast, because for 5 years, all we heard was you have to intermittent fast. And I'm not against intermittent fasting, but I think one of the problems that occurs sometimes with people who are chronically intermittent fasting and not changing things up is they end up under consuming their fuel. And I'm seeing people who are eating less than 50, 60 grams of protein and going, I'm full. Or they're eating less than 1,000 calories of fuel. And so Rachel was like so happy that she was like, I'm going to eat 4 or 5 times a day. And maybe the first day or two we were able to, and then she was quickly, I can't eat anymore. And so I've been telling people that, listen, pick which one you want. If you're going to do 90 days, I would start low and then raise it up. But you may quickly automatically move into that 6 to 8 hour eating window, even if you're not trying to, because you're just not going to be hungry. I just don't like it when people shoot for the moon and then they feel like, oh, I didn't do that and now I'm a failure. So I'd rather somebody start low and then happen to fall into only 1 or 2 meals a day. But with all of this meat, I know that the question we get a lot, and I'm sure you get a lot, is, isn't this protein bad for our kidneys, and doesn't eating all of this protein raise my glucose?
Yeah, so there's several questions that people have about meat. Is red meat going to give me colon cancer? Is bacon going to give me colon cancer? Is red meat going to cause me to have heart disease? All this protein, gluconeogenesis, bro, it's going to give me diabetes. So many different things that people are afraid of. Some people in the world believe that red meat will give you diabetes. They believe that in their heart of hearts. So that's why I made all the YouTube videos that I've made about the actual research that the World Health Organization used to say that bacon is a class 1 carcinogen and that red meat is a class 2A carcinogen. It's like, well, let's look into the research. And so anybody who's worried about gluconeogenesis or colon cancer or any other cancer or heart disease, clogging up your arteries with all that cholesterol, I've got videos that explain that simply. Also down in the show notes of those videos, I have links to the research that I talk about in those videos, because I don't ever want you to blindly believe me or anyone else. I want you to figure this out for yourself, do your own research. If you don't feel like you're smart enough, I guarantee you, whoever your kid or grandkid is that sets your cell phone, right, that makes your cell phone do what you want it to do, have them look at this and go, does he make sense here, or is he off his nut?
And before we let you go, Dr. Berry, I have the privilege of asking this last question because it punched me in all the feels when we did this challenge. And I didn't realize how much I needed some healing in this particular area. And that is, why 1 cup of coffee, or why 1 coffee experience? I know now, looking back as somebody who had worked themselves up to a very healthy ingestion of 2 pots of coffee a day, that really what I was doing is filling the time of spending with nutrition with just a placeholder of coffee to get me through the day. So instead of sitting down and getting full in meals, I was just topping off all through the day with coffee. So I obeyed the challenge. Once you said to just limit it to 1 coffee experience, I did it because, that's what you suggested. But my relationship with coffee was able to really, be spoken into. And I'm really thankful for that looking back. But I bet that there are some more coffee addicts like me that will be starting this challenge and just don't get it. It's just black coffee. Like, why can't I have it all throughout the day?
Yeah, many people are trying to achieve satiety by drinking 2 pots of coffee a day. Some people replicate this same exercise by drinking their weight in water in ounces a day, right? Drink 2 liters, 3 liters, 10 liters of water a day, thinking you're going to fool your stomach and your intestines and your biochemistry. That's never going to work. But also, if your stomach is currently full of a quart of coffee, then that's going to mess with your satiety hormones, even though it's not going to give you long-lasting satiety. And so you're, again, not able to hear the true hunger hormone talking to you, saying, hey, it's time to actually eat real food. And so limit any liquid. Have a cup of coffee in the morning, a cup of hot tea, whatever, it's fine. During the day, if you're truly thirsty, drink water. If you're not truly thirsty, do not be guzzling water. That's going to actually slow down your process and slow down your progress and keep you replicating the same habits that you've been suffering from for years.
So people are going to say, because I know I said to you, what if I just add this? And I remember I said to you, we were at Autumn's house last year, and I said, well, it's high school football season. Can I have my my sweetened electrolytes from Redmond, and what you said to me stung because you were like, you are an adult man. You can do what you want, but I think you can go 30 days without your stevia. But what do you say to someone who says, well, can I add this?
No.
Great response.
If you'd like, you can start adding that to your diet and say that you're eating some other challenge. But if you want to do the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs challenge, then leave that stuff out. It's a short period of time. That's another thing I intentionally did. I didn't say, hey, do this for a year. There's an end in sight. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can have your blessed stevia or monk fruit back in however many days, right? It's not like you're in jail for the rest of your life. So that was intentionally done so that you could say, okay, I'm a grown-ass person. I can do this for 30, 60, 90 days. If I can't, then maybe I need to work on some weaknesses in other parts of my life.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
That's one of the things that I've been saying to myself. If I can't do without something for 30 days, then I need to learn how to do without it for 30 days because it's controlling me.
Yeah.
So up next for your channel and is the Proper Human Diet Summit. It's coming up very quickly. Where can people find more information about that? And also, where can we find your books and other things if for some reason there's somebody living under a rock that doesn't know Dr. Berry?
So we have a Proper Human Diet Summit coming up September 17th in Nashville, Tennessee. The physical tickets are sold out, but our good friends Chris and Miriam Bayer from Keto Chow have graciously offered to host this, and it's going to be available on their YouTube channel for free. So you can attend virtually if you cannot attend in person. I have a book called Lies My Doctor Told Me. I might have a copy here. Yeah, there's a copy. Lies My Doctor Told Me.
Yay.
Medical myths that can harm your health. Also, I have a new book out now called Common Sense Labs. They help you understand what labs to ask your doctor for, why you should want those labs, why your doctor should want those labs. We actually include the ICD-10 codes so your doctor can actually bill your insurance properly. So
Wow.
that
Awesome.
insurance will cover most of these labs. And then not only what the normal range is for the labs, but what's the optimal range. And that's available at commonsenselabsbook.com. And I'll send you guys a link to that. Lies is available at all bookstores.
Dr. Berry, thank you so much for sharing your time and your generosity with us and all of the keto community.
I'm so privileged to call you a friend. I'm so thankful for all of the knowledge that you've poured into us, that you've poured into all of the keto community. And I strongly encourage anybody, if you're not following Dr. Berry, go follow Dr. Berry. Also, for less money than a copayment, you can go join his Patreon and have access to so much information, as well as several. How many live streams a week do you do and Zoom calls do you do for just your Patreons?
So inside of Patreon, we do an additional 3 Crowdcast Q&As every week, and then a Zoom call Q&A for our vital patrons once a week. So 4 extra live Q&As in addition to all the live stuff and videos that we put out.
For less than what it would cost if you had a copay for going to a doctor.
Truly.
Much less.
So we really appreciate that, Dr. Berry.
Well, there you have it. Triple B&E broken down by the gentleman who knows what's what.
Did you get the answer about coffee that you were looking for?
Honestly, his answer about coffee is going to help me bring such a better attitude into this year's challenge. I wish I had that answer last year.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. There was something else he talked about that made a lot of sense to me. And there was actually a question that I wanted to ask him and I forgot.
Uh-oh.
I get starstruck when I'm around Dr. Berry.
He's pretty awesome.
You forget. But I wanted to ask him about things like the beef protein mixes, putting something like a Quip protein powder into a drink, or maybe an unsweetened beef collagen, or like the Keto Chow beef soup base because it's beef based. So, can you? And the reason I've always said for myself no is because it has gum acacia, but I also know that gum acacia doesn't really get absorbed in the body. It's not a carbohydrate. It's a carbohydrate, but it doesn't get used for fuel. And I was like, oh, why couldn't you use it? But he said the thing about the fiber, and that is when you start giving yourself all of these fibers, it interferes with your ability to get the satiety. It interferes with your satiety hormone. So now it makes sense of that's why I can't use like the keto chow beef soup base, which I really want to, but it's got a bunch of fiber in there, which may artificially fill you up.
I think that this is such an awesome opportunity for us to really, truly embrace whole foods. Just to have this moment with whole, actual food, to crack the egg, to slice the roast, to hear that bacon sizzling. I think this is a powerful moment for us. And so, yes, I do enjoy convenience foods behind us, or all kinds of convenience things that we love and we utilize regularly. However, for just 30 days, we're going to kind of tap out.
Well, we're doing it for 30 days. We may take it longer. Who knows? We're doing a minimum of 30 days. Dr. Barry says do it for 90.
Do it for 90.
90 would take you through Christmas, though.
Yeah.
We are going to be doing this on the road, right? We're going to do an 11-hour drive.
Yeah.
Each way to Tennessee on beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. So it is possible. We've done it before.
We're going to do it again.
We're going to do it again. It is possible. But like we say, start with 30 days. If you start with 30 days and want to continue it on, great. We can do anything for 30 days. I'm super excited about having the whole community together. And also, we are having a separate group challenge on our Mighty Networks. There's a link for that down below. There's a small fee for that. But with that, there's some accountability stuff, some additional posts. There is going to be a weekly a check-in, live check-in kind of thing.
Right.
So not required.
Not required.
But for people who want a little bit more accountability, someone that they can kind of go through it with, that is going to be down there. But
I'm
we're going to
excited.
be vlogging all of this on our regular channel. I'm really excited about Triple B&E 2022. So if you like seeing videos like this, take a look at some of the videos that we have linked right over there. Also, make sure you take a look at the most recent video that I'm going to put right over here.
But whether you head this way or you head this way, don't forget to head this way. Subscribe to our channel and click the little bell icon. And that way, every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
Till next time.
Bye.